Alright guys, welcome back to another one. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best and strongest commands in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and how to make them. I'm only going to talk about the best ones to use, so if they're not listed here, I don't really recommend using these commands throughout the game unless it's early game. Before we begin, a quick tip for command melding for the commands that have an incredibly low chance to receive. Rather than just hoarding a bunch of commands in the hope that eventually through melding you'll get the commands that you want, before you meld the commands, be sure to save the game. If you don't end up receiving the commands that you wanted, you can actually use the soft reset button rather than going through into the save menu to then quit to the title screen. At any point in the game, if you hold down L1, R1 and start, you'll soft reset, which will send you straight back to the title screen. I believe that this is the only Kingdom Hearts game that has a soft reset function. Now we should get the two obvious ones out of the way and done first, and that is Thunder Surge and Mind Square. These are hands down the two best commands in the entire game, and they're not actually too difficult to create. Just using these two commands can see you through the entire game. All of the secret bosses, the Mirage Arena, the additional challenges, they're a little bit broken. These two commands are basically Birth by Sleep's version of Dream Drop Distance's Balloon Run. Now, any of these surge abilities are really good, but Thunder is the one that you definitely want to try and prioritize. This is mainly because Thunder Surge has a stun effect for mob enemies. That won't apply to bosses, but the reason why these Surge commands are so overpowered is because of the invincibility window. When using Surge, your character essentially gets iframes. This means that the attack itself cannot be interrupted. Unlike a lot of the other flashier moves in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, these tend to leave you completely open and you can be interrupted before you even execute the attack. Mind Square is the strongest mind magic out of the three mind commands. When used, this will create a square of minds around your character. The reason why this is better than Seeker Mine or Mind Shield is because of the amount of area that Mind Square covers. This is incredibly handy for boss fights, as you can just leave the mines lying in the arena while you're fighting the boss. They will disappear after a certain amount of time if they haven't been triggered, but depending on your magic stat, this command can do an incredible amount of damage. Thundaga is the best traditional magic command in the game, due to Thunder's ability to be able to attack multiple enemies in one go. In any Birth by Sleep playthrough, I always ensure to try get Thundaga as soon as I possibly can, as you can get it pretty early on. Another magic that you should absolutely try get as soon as you can is Magnet. Magnet isn't so much known for its damage, but more so used as a crowd control effect, and is great in tandem with something like Thundaga. Blitz is an attack command that I try to get as soon as I possibly can, as you can get it quite early in the game. Being able to dish out 3 whammo blamos straight to the enemy's forehead is always pretty handy. Sonic Blade, the attack that allows you to go... A decently strong attack command, though if you are damaged while in the middle of using Sonic Blade, you will be interrupted. Wind Cutter is a great Terra-only attack command that allows Terra to harness the power of a Crash Bandicoot spin. Wind Cutter is actually the weaker version of Brutal Blast, though I do recommend Wind Cutter over Brutal Blast, just because this command activates a lot quicker so that you're not left open. Do you like cheese balls? Well, you're in luck. There's a command known as Triple Firaga that allows you to summon forth 3 cheese balls all in one hit. That's a lot of cheddar. A decently strong attack that I believe is better than Triple Blizzara due to Firaga's ability to be able to track enemies. Thundaga Shot also gets a worthy mention too. It works just the same way as Thundaga would, though it begins as a projectile. Triple Firaga is more so recommended for individual enemies. However, if you have large groups of enemies, then Thundaga Shot is definitely the go. You know the incredibly strong magic that Sephiroth tries to use to wipe out an entire planet known as Meteor? Well, go figure. Terra right here can harness the power of the Black Materia and summon a giant f***ing rock. Now, I don't actually think that Meteor is all too powerful, in all honesty, considering that Meteor takes up 2 slots and the game considers it to be one of the better commands. It really kind of isn't. However, it is pretty damn cool that you can summon forth a Meteor to flatten your enemies. I just want to say real quick, this is why I love Kingdom Hearts. I'm currently in what is basically Disneyland, summoning a f***ing Meteor. Want some? All right. Meteor Crash is definitely the better Meteor command here in Birth by Sleep. I mean, it just looks a lot cooler than summoning a big-ass rock. This dude does a whole WWE down slam and then a bunch of pebbles fly out of nowhere with all of these cool effects. How can you not like this? I also find that the general radius of this attack is a lot better than normal Meteor. Deep Freeze. Let's turn the Disney worlds into Antarctica. Woo! If you want to put the Unversed into Cryo Sleep, well, you can with Deep Freeze. This is very similar to Chain of Memory's Freeze Slate. And that's actually one thing that you'll notice with some of the commands throughout Birth by Sleep is they've been taken directly from Chain of Memories, as Rechain of Memories was actually the game that came before Birth by Sleep from the Osaka team. Glacier is an upgraded version of Deep Freeze that can be used only by Aqua. The girl transforms into a slushy maker and freezes enemies into ice cubes, then proceeds to throw them. How rude. One Firaga is never enough, so why don't we just unleash the gates of hell and let it rain down upon our foes? Firaga Burst is going to allow us to do exactly that. This magic has been ripped directly from Chain of Memories, like it's the exact same thing. Raging Storm is another magic that was used in Chain of Memories that was ripped into Birth by Sleep that can only be used by Aqua. This is just hands down one of the coolest special attacks in the entirety of Kingdom Hearts. Summoning fire vortexes that spin around the Keyblade wielder while the Keyblade itself is just sort of floating there, spinning around, doing ballerina twirls. This thing is insane, and especially for how long it lasts, you essentially become a vacuum of death. I think what's interesting here is obviously Aqua, who is more primarily a magic user, gets all of these stronger magic abilities, but a lot of these abilities we see Sora being able to use in Chain of Memories. This kind of tells us that Sora is like this perfect balance of raw strength, speed, and magic. Yeah, and of course, we cannot forget the famous Mega Flare. This can be used by all three of the characters. I kind of feel like Osaka team thought to themselves, yeah, we feel kind of bad for Terra and Ventus considering that Aqua's got all of these cool, flashy magic abilities, so let's make it so that all three of them can use the Nuke spell. It's definitely no Donald Duck Zeta Flare, but it certainly does get the job done. Geo Impact is an attack that can only be used by Terra. His name is Terra, which in Latin means Earth, so he definitely needs an Earth attack. We do have Meteor, but what about a simple just slam the Keyblade into the dirt and lift the dirt from beneath him? Lexius would be so proud. Tornado is a magic command that can only be used by Ventus, and of course, again, this makes sense. Ventus's name in Latin means wind. So let's give the boy a literal tornado to play with. Yet another attack that was ripped directly from Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. This one is really cool and is probably one of the most unique attacks in Kingdom Hearts, as it allows you to control a tornado separate from the actual character. Similar to Meteor, I don't actually think that this command is that powerful. I just think it's really unique and is so different from any other attack we see in the game. But what happens if we put a Tornado as well as Crash Bandicoot together into one? Well, we get Tornado Strike. Definitely better than Tornado. It allows Ventus to spin and just kind of keep spinning so long as you press that triangle button. Definitely a great attack for if you're versing large groups of enemies. Ah yes, the famous Time Splicer, originally introduced into Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories under the name of Lethal Frame. Though it's definitely a lot flashier here in Birth by Sleep. This is like anime times 26, dude. Unfortunately, poor Terra is missing out on the flashiness of this one. Time Splicer is just hands down one of the coolest abilities found in Kingdom Hearts, and I hope that for maybe Kingdom Hearts 4, this sees a return. Sora could use it in Chain of Memories. I want to see him pulling it off here, similar to Ventus and Aqua. What happens if you mix Coca-Cola and Sonic Blade? Well, yeah, I guess Chaos Blade right here is sort of a similar thing. Chaos Blade. I think that this is probably Terra's coolest ability right here. Like, yeah, the big flying rock from space is cool, but Sonic Blade is just a really cool attack as is already. Mix a little bit of darkness into that with some of that Time Splicer warping. This is probably why Terra didn't get Time Splicer, and you get Chaos Blade. Transcendence is an ultimate gravity type magic command, which I think it actually sucks. Like, this thing sucks. It's trying to be a Mega Flare, but it's all show, no bow. Bow's also part of show. It's all walk, no talk. Wait, no, all talk. No, I don't even know where I'm going with this. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the attack in itself looks really cool. I don't even know what's going on. We're like rearranging the fabric of time with this one. It's basically just a mini Mega Flare. It can do some pretty good damage, and it's cool that all 3 of the characters can also use this, though, of course, you're better to just make Mega Flare. You know those incredibly strong light pillar attacks that Roxas can pull off? Well, yeah, they actually come from Ventus. The first version of this is known as Faith. Super cool to actually use this attack in the game. It's decently strong. It is more of an AoE blast type ability. It also heals Ventus when he pulls it off, which is always handy. Thank God Roxas didn't have the healing capabilities with his version of it. I also enjoy how he yells out, "Light!" And finally, Salvation. Definitely a more flashier, cool version of Faith, though I would recommend Faith over Salvation just because Salvation takes about 3 years to actually activate. It's a little bit stronger, and you also get bonus style points for just how cool this looks. It's like some kind of anime special attack is about to be unleashed. I also like how the light quote that Ventus yells out during Faith is enhanced here for Salvation. Ooh, sends shivers through my nipples every time. So those are all of the best and strongest commands throughout Birth by Sleep. Really, you only need Mind Square and Thunder Surge. Everything else is just bonus. It's just icing on top of the cake. However, what I love so much about Birth by Sleep is its command deck system, allowing us to have some really cool and unique abilities for Kingdom Hearts outside of just a normal magic or attack combo system like we see in the main games. I do hope for the future of Kingdom Hearts that the command deck does return for a subtitled entry. Can you imagine how many cool commands we could see from modern era Square Enix with modern technology? Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up with all of the antics going on here. Check out my other garbage social media platforms, links in the description down below. A big thank you to my turkey-tastic patrons. I appreciate the support. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and we'll talk real soon.